Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Now, this is kind of one of this is kind of a big situation that I actually have to talk about, and what I have to talk about is the pacing within season 2 of Tower of God. And the reason for that is a lot of you who are watching the full spoilers, because this is full spoilers, will know that there is a major situation. The situation is simple: we haven't covered enough content. And if they are intending to do this here, I hope they're going to give us an extra long season, maybe 25 episodes, hopefully. But if they aren't going to give us 25 episodes, I think we're going to be really upset at the end of the season. That's because we know for a fact they won't be able to adapt the rest of the story. It will take way too long, and they're trying to push it out too far. People are going to get sick and tired in season 2 because season 2 has many mini arcs within it. So season 2 starts off with the Slayer arc, or the Prince arc, right? That's the first one. Then it's going to form into the Flower of Zigna arc, which I haven't actually spoken of particularly, which is a whole relation with two whole stories. It should take about 8 episodes to cover it at the current pacing, but you could cover it in 2 episodes. One episode for Kun and Rachel, and one episode for all of Balm's Fug related incidents. Then you'd have the Zigna incident on its own in a 3rd episode from this whole situation, and that'll give us 3 instead of 8 if you want to condense it down, because you can't condense it down that far. There's a lot of things which can be skipped and dropped from the whole story. But if you aren't going to drop it, you're going to need 8 episodes for the next section. At the current rate, it looks like that's how it's going to end. And with this year, we'll end up with season 2 being 12 episodes long and ending at the end of the Flower of Zigna. Then we're going to have season 2 continuing up with another season of the anime in season 3, where we're going to have the workshop arc. And the workshop arc can easily take up to 10 episodes, which is what I was worried about. Because if you pace it nicely, it's going to be exactly like season 1. It's actually that long to complete the entire workshop arc. Moving on from there, we have the next part of season 2, which follows the workshop arc, which is the Hell Train. And the Hell Train, we have part 1, getting on the train or boarding the train. There's so much in part 1 that I believe you can have a whole season with just the station rushes and the whole trying to get onto the train. Because once Balm gets on the train, everything is different. Everything starts to shift around, and we have the whole Slayer competition Hell Train arc, right? So that's number 2. And everything that happens in that Hell Train situation can take a whole season on its own for the Slayer's arc, right? So that is another crazy thing. I never expected season 2 to be adapted into a single season. I expected to get at least 3 or 4, with a lot of it hyper condensed, because there's no way an anime studio is going to be able to last 8 or 9 seasons worth of adaptation. So after the Slayer arc comes one of the more peaceful arcs, where they're getting ready for the Flow of Death, right? So the Flow of Death arc is basically all the way through into the Flow of Death. The Flow of Death is worth a whole 2 seasons all on its own. So we can have an entry, and then we can have the war on the Flow of Death. So 2 parts in that Flow of Death. So yeah, there's another 2. Then we have the Hidden Floor, which can have its whole arc all for itself. There is enough content for there to be more than one whole season of anime, but one season would cover everything. Then from there, we're going to get to the final station, which is a crazy arc all on its own. It has to be an arc all on its own, because if you mix final floor and final station together, you're going to end up with a hyper condensed fight, and nothing is going to make sense. Balm is going to be getting way too powerful way too quickly. Things are going to seem very irrelevant all of a sudden, because you had a season where he was fighting with Jahad, and then you're going to have a season where he's just fighting with rankers from the tower, and he looks like he's weaker than he was in the previous section, and it's not going to make much sense to viewers. So yeah, that's one of the other things which is crazy. And if they mix it correctly, we're gonna have quite a good fight. Now I know I haven't yet even touched the episode. I just started off with talking about the pacing. Now, as for the episode, they missed out on the whole trying to not trying to drugging Yua story, which is done through Prince, because Prince still has enough courtesy to talk nicely to Yua, and when he offers her a drink as a truce and she drinks it, she ends up drugged, and that's how the parasite gets in her. The reason why this is so important is it draws the irregularity that irregulars can be easily controlled, which is absolutely not true. Parasites are very rare in the tower, regardlessly, but they cannot control very powerful individuals, and Yua is one of those very powerful individuals. So for them to easily control her would be ridiculous, and what they did over there has opened up a whole lot of problems for the workshop battle arc when that parasite doesn't just take over V, right? And especially considering that it's Fug that's going to do it, it opens up this whole load of problems. And yeah, it's going to become, why didn't they just possess V instead of possessing another regular, or just possessing an ignition weapon? Sounds so stupid. Then the next thing which is going to happen is we're going to end up with, sorry about this, yeah, I said yeah, so the whole drugging story was edited out. Then the next thing which was really crazy was Balm drawing with the Rancor. Now Balm drawing with the Rancor needs to be really well flushed out for us not to have problems in the next seasons, because Balm's power has to show that it's getting more and more crazy. And drawing out with the Rancor, we're supposed to see Mule really struggling with Balm. Basically, Mule lovers going all out trying to keep up with Balm, and this is a regular versus Rancor on the 20th floor. This isn't something that's supposed to happen. This is like an infant beating up an adult, basically. That's what it's like to these guys. And yeah, it's crazy that it even happened, but that's the way that it was supposed to look. And Mule was on the losing side of this here. That whole sending the connector to the side where Wagner picks it up was supposed to happen, and it's supposed to happen after Mule is really struggling to even get anywhere against Balm. And his reverse flow control and the use of Mule's own techniques makes Mule really irritated, because you know it's somebody who's much weaker. He isn't supposed to have this much of a problem with fighting a kid. And we move on from there, and the whole story with the rooms, it's just so convoluted in terms of sequence. Yes, Naya's death comes before Wagner enters into the bottom section to pick up Balm, right? Ojinaru. I really don't like that name for him, but nonetheless, when it finally happens that Wagner comes down to pick up Balm and go back up, we have a whole different situation happening at the situation for this entire sequence. Huryang is supposed to be already on the way to Prince's room, and Prince is already supposed to be catching a hiding from Rob Devil. He finally manages to blind Rob Devil the way that he did, and he opens the door. Now this is supposed to happen before Viol catches up to Lurker and Yua. Yua stalls Viol for a few seconds, giving Lurker just about enough time to enter his room. And before he can close the door, yes, Wagner and V enter the room. Enter the room with this massive crashing in, and that's how Lurker gets caught. The way Lurker was defeated was correct, but the fact that they made the fight with Lurker and the fight with Yua and Lurker happen at the same time. It's not Lurker, sorry. The fight between Huryang and Rob Devil happened at the same time was one of the worst things that they could have possibly done. Because if the two happen at the same time, there's a chance that Wagner will fail, because he needed to make sure that his team was ready to be accepted for winning for the winning conditions. And that's exactly where things go off, because now there's too much of a risk involved in what he did. We understood that he was really desperate, and that's why he went to go fetch V to take care of the others. And we know that Love felt really horrible about what happened, because he ended up getting Regulus killed for his grudge, and he felt that he became a monster in doing so. But we don't get that feeling from him. Then we have the whole situation with Augustus and the submerged fish, right? We're not supposed to be given a clear indication of who he is talking to. We know that Wagner is some sort of prince somehow, but we don't know that he's a prince. And with this here, they literally just call him Prince Naru, right? Basically, and they ruin the whole gotcha moment for him when we finally figure out that he's a prince of Jahad, right? And that is supposed to come all the way later when we finally get introduced to Karaka, and Karaka says, if you really have that ring, then you are my brother and a prince of Jahad. And that is when we're supposed to figure out that it was definitely him all along. And obviously we get the whole situation with Prince being killed around the same time, so we knew who the prince was so important to Fug was. But nonetheless, all of that is now no longer a big reveal when it happens. It's just going to be, oh yeah, we knew about it, instead of finally we get the answer. They ruin that whole suspense in the story. To me, there is a little bit of a gripe, because the suspense does give the story some meaning, and I hope that things go better with the seasons to follow. So catch you all in the next one. Have a good day.